Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to completely shatter some heavily normalized illusions about modern, middle-class wealth. If you've been feeling like you're doing everything right, but somehow falling further and further behind, well, you're in exactly the right place. We are going to take those societal illusions and replace them with a concrete, mathematical roadmap to actual financial freedom. I want to start off by asking you a really serious question. Can you actually afford the American dream anymore? Because if you're feeling a deep, underlying financial anxiety right now, I want to validate that for you immediately. It's not a personal failure. The math of normal life in the year 2026 is, quite frankly, structurally rigged against the average earner. Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever been sitting at a red light next to a brand new gleaming pickup truck and just wondered how on earth the driver is affording it? Well, $130,000. That is the staggering true cost of a typical financed $55,000 pickup truck over a 7-year loan. When you factor in the extended interest, the massive insurance premiums, the fuel, and specialized maintenance, that 55 grand sticker price just balloons into a 6-figure wealth destroyer. So here's our journey for today. First, we'll unpack the modern wealth illusion. Second, we'll dive into the psychology of savings. And third, we'll lay out the wealth-building blueprint. All right, part 1, the modern wealth illusion, the brutal math of normal. I want to acknowledge the pain of the current economic climate right off the bat. It is incredibly stressful out there. But I need you to understand something very clearly. It's not you, it is the math. Take the Cornerstone $500,000 starter home. A $2,850 principal and interest payment quickly balloons when you add $500 for taxes, rising homeowners insurance, maintenance, and PMI. Suddenly, this supposedly affordable mortgage becomes a massive $4,300 monthly burden. This right here is the exact math that traps people into being completely house poor. And this brilliantly illustrates the real problem. Let's look at a household making $160,000 a year. I mean, that's a solid upper middle class income, right? After taxes and modest retirement contributions, their take-home pay is about $9,500. Subtract that $4,300 house, standard car payments, student loans, and basic groceries, and what's left? A measly $1,533. And remember, that's before clothing, kids' activities, medical copays, or any emergencies. Even high earners are left with absolute crumbs after playing by society's normal rules. Which brings us to a really fascinating psychological trap. Automotive Stockholm Syndrome. Because budgets are so incredibly tight, people are extending car loans to 7 or 8 years just to afford the monthly payment. They literally become emotionally attached to their financial captors. When someone suggests driving a reliable 10-year-old car to save money, they don't see a strategic financial move. No, they view it as a personal attack on their self-worth. They're essentially using their own vehicles to destroy their wealth. The math on this is just black and white. The path of wealth destruction, paying $800 a month on a truck for 7 years, means you lose roughly $130,000 to depreciation, interest, and running costs. Conversely, the path of wealth creation, investing that exact same $800 a month at an 8% return, yields over a $70,000 gain. The difference between the flashy new truck and the older car isn't just aesthetics. It is a literal choice between financial stress and true financial freedom. Let's move to Section 2, the psychology of savings, how we actually escape this financial hamster wheel. The antidote to this madness begins with a highly specific milestone, $10,000. Reaching your first 5 figures in savings is the first true game changer. Neuroscientists have actually found that reaching this exact level of financial security scientifically lowers your cortisol levels, your primary stress hormone. It literally shifts your brain chemistry from a state of panic to a state of peace. Now, what's really interesting about this is how it impacts decision fatigue. When you're broke, you suffer from this constantly. You're making thousands of micro decisions in survival mode, calculating if you can afford the name brand pasta or if a $3 coffee is going to overdraw your account. It is mentally exhausting. Having 10 grand in the bank completely eliminates 90% of this daily mental exhaustion, and it frees up massive amounts of mental bandwidth. You essentially cross over from survival mode to opportunity mode. You see, an emergency fund isn't actually for emergencies at all. It's a psychological safety net. Instead of reacting to every crisis with fear, you suddenly have negotiating power. You have walking away money so you can ask for a raise or take a calculated career risk. You finally have the mental space to focus on increasing your income. Let's see how this actually builds. Watch how compound interest accelerates over time. If you invest $1,000 a month at 8%, your first $20,000 takes about 19 months. But your second $20,000, that only takes 17 months because your money is actually working for you now. By the time you hit a $400,000 net worth, your investments generate that same 20 grand in just 5 months. This is the magical point where financial gravity finally starts working for you instead of against you. All right, part 3, the wealth building blueprint, the strict order of optimized investing. Now that we have the right mindset and the psychological safety net in place, we need a mechanical roadmap. This is the foundation of your financial house. Step 1, build that emergency fund. Step 2, ruthlessly eliminate high-interest debt, like credit cards over 8%. And I have to warn you sternly here, do not skip straight to trendy stock picking or crypto while you're bleeding money to 22% credit card interest. It's like trying to fill a bucket with massive holes in the bottom. And then, step 3 is the employer match. So the crucial point is this. You must take your employer match even before you finish off your high-interest debt. Why? Because employer matching is literally free money lying on the ground. A guaranteed 100% return on your investment instantly beats out the math of paying down a 22% credit card. Grab that match and then go back to aggressively killing the debt. Once that foundation is set, we enter the tax optimization zone. Step 4 is maximizing your IRA because it gives you way more control and lower fees than typical corporate plans. Step 5 is the health savings account, and step 6 is returning to max out your 401k beyond that initial employer match. Look, most people completely mess up this sequence, and by doing things out of order, they unnecessarily feed their hard-earned money straight to fund managers and the IRS. Now, that health savings account at step 5 really requires special attention. It features a unique triple tax advantage. You get a tax deduction when you contribute, your money grows completely tax-free while it's invested, and you can withdraw it tax-free from medical expenses at any time, even decades later. Honestly, for the young and healthy, the HSA is flat out the most underutilized, powerful investment vehicle in America. It is an absolute secret weapon against future healthcare costs. To put all of this into perspective and show you why the order of operations matters so much, just consider the math. Investing $10,000 annually for 30 years at a 7% return in a tax-advantaged account yields roughly $944,000. If you do that exact same investing in a standard taxable account where you're paying taxes on dividends and capital gains along the way, you end up with about $700,000. Guys, that's a staggering $250,000 difference caused simply by the tax drag of doing things in the wrong order. As we bring this explainer home, I really want you to internalize this. Real wealth isn't driving a $70,000 truck to a job you hate. It isn't being completely house poor in a $500,000 home where you're stressing over every single utility bill. Real wealth is having margin in your budget. It's having options, sleeping well at night, and possessing true, unshakable peace of mind. So, I'm going to leave you with this final provocative challenge. Which financial game are you going to play? Are you going to keep running on the stressful, normalized financial hamster wheel of constant debt and monthly payments? Or are you going to step off, respect the brutal math, and follow this blueprint to real financial independence? The choice is absolutely yours. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer today, and I'll catch you next time.